Sundar ki Jai. Prabhupada Jai. So I request all the kids to move a little to the center because when you recite the verses, you will need the screen. So if you can please go to the center and give the mic to the kids. So I'll take the wire. Hare Krishna. Once again, welcome you all to the Sunday feast. As you may have noticed, this is very spontaneous. That's why you saw the mridanga stop, the kirtan go. So we haven't rehearsed this. So kindly bear with us. It was very spontaneous. I just definitely want to thank all the children. I brought the idea. They said okay, and we are doing it today. So there was no dress rehearsal or anything for this one. Okay. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So once again, I would like to wish all the mothers a very, very happy Mother's Day. So I'll spend a few minutes on the topic of Mother's Day. I'd like to do it a little differently this year to see what can transpire. I came across a very nice statement. Actually, it is from a movie, it seems. It says, 20 seconds of embarrassing courage can bring about a huge amount of change or difference. So, if you don't hesitate yourself to be embarrassed for 20 seconds, it can bring about a huge change. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about, but I think a lot of the people coming from the Indian background, they don't know how to express love. They don't know how to express it in words, express it in actions. It is seen, sometimes it's seen as boo-boo or something like that, right? So I would like each one of you to spend maybe a minute to think about this, right? Mom, I love you because of dash. And fill in your own word, whatever you think about it. Right? So I will try to fill that dash from a statement that inspired me today. And what I would say to each one of you is who have that hesitation, who have that reluctance, just type it for 20 seconds and send it to your mom. Right? So the thing that inspired me is I came across a statement. It's actually from ISKCON Desire Tree, and they have a Hare Krishna TV, and they were doing a promo for the Mother's Day event, right? And then in there, this particular lady who was doing the promo, she gave a Hindi statement. I didn't really understand. I just asked Aditya's mom, who's a great Hindi teacher, to translate it for me. So the way the statement goes is this: even if a child renounces the mom, the mother never renounces the child. So there are so many relationships in this world that we form, right? We have parents, mom and dad. We have teachers. We have friends. We have partners. We have neighbors. We have colleagues. So many relationships in this world, right? But guess what? There is one relationship that was never by your choice. That is the relationship between the mother and the child, or father and the child. The rest of the relationships are by choice, right? I will be your friend, or I will not be your friend. I will be your colleague. I'll resign and go and work for another company. I will be your ex, or I'll be your partner, or I will, separate myself from you. But one relationship that was given as a gift to us, and it is a very, very unique gift, because Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, this is the right person for you to be your mom. And that's the relationship that was given to us. Now, I want to expand on this statement, right? Even if the child renounces or gives up, the mother never gives up. So often, as part of the Mother's Day, we've heard about the sacrifice that the mothers have done, the love that the mother shows. Today, I want to touch a subtle topic, which is called the mother always believes in us. Because it's very subtle, right? Sometimes a mother have a capability to help you economically, or may not be. The mother have capability to give you knowledge, or may not be. But irrespective of any strength that the mother may possess or not possess, but there is one thing that the mother will always have, is belief in the child. So, how many of you would be willing to break one bone in your body? I'll give you $1,000. You ready? Okay. So, human body, there is a special measurement for pain. Human body is able to tolerate, if I remember correctly, about 38 units of that pain. When the mother gives birth, she experiences 45 units of that pain. And it is said the pain is equivalent to breaking 20 bones. So one may think, how does this happen? The mother looks intact, she's fine and everything, right? But if you carefully study medicine, or do research at least, it'll show how a little baby that is stuffed into her body has to be squeezed out, and then all her bones, like our skeletal structure, has to be pushed to the side. For example, how many of you do yoga? Have tried yoga at least, maybe? If not, do yoga, right? And you try to do a stretch like this, and after 10 seconds, what happens? You just, that's enough of a stretch, right? But when the mother gives birth, there's no choice. The body stretches no matter what. If the body is flexible, inflexible, doesn't matter. And then she gives birth. And how many of you have been in an accident, broken your bones, or got sick? And how many of you lay down in bed, right? After that, doctor says, don't move for 15 days. Your body will heal, right? The mother, as soon as she gives birth, maybe she gets a couple of hours of rest, and then she has to start feeding the baby. And the baby wants to be fed every 2 hours, believe it or not. Right? So why I'm saying this, right? Earlier I said I'm not going to talk about the sacrifice, everything that she does, but I want to talk about belief, right? Now, let us take different scenarios. Let us say the mother went through an ultrasound scan and realized that the baby may be deformed. Like They may have a cleft palate, cleft lip, or whatever, for whatever reason. The mother doesn't give up. During pregnancy, the mother, in the first trimester, experiences a lot of nausea. But still, she doesn't give up taking food. Why? She wants to nourish the baby. This is one other word that I want you to remember: nourishment. What is the meaning of nourishment? You may have the best food in this world, but if your body does not absorb it, there's no value to that food, right? That is the definition of nourishment. Food may be very opulent, but if the essence of the food doesn't go into the body, then nourishment does not happen. So, no offense to the fathers. The father is a provider. He gets the best food. But nourishment, or best education, best house, or whatever best, but the nourishment is through the mother. Guess what? You ask the dads to teach your children math. They give up after 15 minutes, believe it or not. You ask the dads to feed the baby. They give up after 5 spoons. But the mother is after the baby. No, you have to eat. You have to eat, otherwise you'll get sick. Please eat, please eat, please eat. That is what I call mother not giving up, so that the child is nourished. Now let us say the child grew up a little older. And then he goes to school, education, or whatever, right? And guess what? What do the children tell to the parents, right? Sometimes, Mom, don't embarrass me in front of my friends. Right? Did you hear that? Right? Did you eat your food? Mom, don't embarrass me. Be quiet, be quiet. Right? Child, can you do your homework? Mom, you're always bothering me. Why do you have to ask about my homework always? Because she, irrespective of how harsh words the child uses, you're embarrassing. You make me feel ashamed. Mother is mother. She's not polished. She doesn't exhibit polishness in front of the child. So that a child can feel embarrassment through that careful nurturing, careful attention and whatnot. But the mother doesn't give up, even if the child says some harsh words, because she believes in the child. Say a child excels in the school, she's very happy. But if the child is not doing so great in school, does the mother give up? No. The teacher may give up. Friends may give up. But the mother never gives up on the child. And as the child grows up, and he flies out of the nest, far away, flies to America, cross the 7 oceans and far away. Does the mother give up because the child has left the nest? She's always remembering the child in the thoughts. I think most of our children go to Urbana-Champaign or UIC. I see every weekend parents commuting, right? Cook food, send food, whatever, right? Nourishment still happens through thoughts. So this saying where even if the child gives up the mother never gives up the child. I want you all to think of a scenario. Because there is this one person who believes in you, your life is being sustained. Say, for whatever reason, a child is rejected by the society, maybe because of his or her bad choices. Maybe a criminal, maybe a homeless person. But the mother still never gives up. You will see. Right? Even for criminals, the mother goes to the jail, talks to the child, and has hope for the child. even if the society has rejected the child. So, even if it is embarrassing, take that courage of 20 seconds. One more scenario I'll talk. I've seen so many examples within our community itself. I remember one mother sharing with me when her child was in the hospital. The doctors were about to give up hope and wanted to perform an operation which would change the child's life forever. She didn't give up. She researched, and found alternate treatments, questioned the doctors, challenged the doctors. Why do you have to do this procedure? And then she got the child, through research, the most expensive medicine that the doctors usually don't prescribe. And the child is doing perfectly fine now and has a grandchild now. So many living entities come into our life by our choice. Either we reject them or they reject them. But our mother never rejects us, even if we reject. She always puts us in her thoughts. So what I would say is, think of that one word. Dear Mom, I love you because of dash. And say, and send it to your mother. There was one person who was sharing his experience of losing his mother. He said, I was so busy in my life traveling around the world, I never took time to spend time with my mother. And one day, I was in Japan, and I got this call that my mom left her body. Immediately, I rushed, and I was sitting right in front of her during the memorial. And I repented that I did not say, I love you, Mom, because of dash. So let's all take this day. Even if it's embarrassing, if it's not something that you do normally, it's still fine. Express. Even if you've had a bad relationship with your mother, you can appreciate the love she showed to you. It can be embarrassing. You know, we are in this material world. Sometimes relationships can take a sour out. But there's nothing embarrassing to say something positive. It would be difficult to face somebody if you're doing something negative. But if you're doing something positive, there's nothing embarrassing about it. So having said that, the Sunday school children, we'll be doing chapter 15 of Bhagavad-Gita as an offering to all the mothers. Chapter 15 is very special because I was inspired through ISKCON Silicon Valley, led in the leadership of His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. Every event that happens in their temple, may it be birth of a child, may it be a samskara that is happening. I remember our little Ankit's daughter. She was in, what is Ankit's daughter's name? Remuna, yes. When they did her first grain ceremony, she was in Silicon Valley. That's when it struck to me, right? They recited the chapter 15 of Bhagavad-Gita, and Vaisheshika Prabhu said, for every occasion we recite chapter 15. So in our Sunday school, we are trying to at least, we want all the children to memorize chapter 15 because it's a very, very special chapter. And I want to thank Shatrup Mataji for giving us this opportunity to present chapter 15. So as an offering on this Mother's Day, all the children will be reciting chapter 15 of Bhagavad-Gita, all the Sanskrit slokas. Now they're doing it by seeing paper. They know how to recite by seeing, and we are hoping to get to a point where they can do it without seeing a paper. And this is something we want to follow as a tradition for every occasion. If it's a birthday or anything, we'll be reciting chapter 15. Okay, I will try to pull. I don't know if I am connected to the internet, but I will see if I can pull this. Okay. Here's my mouse. Anybody can see my mouse there or no?
No.
No? Are you seeing the Sanskrit verses? I cannot see from here. Okay. All right, we can start. Yes, I can see there. Anybody knows the shortcut for Zoom? There you go. Okay, let's start, please. Can you hold the mic closer, Aditya and Baladev? Yes. Yes. Let's go. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdamoolam Ashvatam Prabhuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yasyam Veda Savedavid Adaschamudam Pratasasha Guna Pravriddha Vishaya Pravala Adaschamulani Anushantantani Karmanubandhani Manushya Loke Narupamasyeha tato palabhyate Nanto nachade nacha samratishta Ashvatam enam suviruddhamulam Ashanga shastrena jidena chitva Tata padam tat parimagitavyam Yashmin gatana vivartanti bhuya Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye Yata pravritta prashrutta prani Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha Adhyatma nitya vrinivritta kama Dvandvaiva mukta sukha dukkha samjnai Gachanti amuda padam avyayam tat Natad bhashayate suryo Na shashanko na pavaka Yat katva na nivartante Tadama paramam mama Mamaivamso jivaloke Jiva bhuta sanatana Manashrastyani indriyani Prakritistani karshati Shariram yadavapnoti Yachapi utramashvara Grihitvaitani samyati Vayur gandhani vashayat Shrotram chakshusparshanam cha Rasanam grahane vacha Adishtaya manaschayam Vishayanupavasyavate Brahmanam sitam vapi Punyanam vagunanvitam Vimudananupashyanti Pashyanti jnana chakshusha Yatanto yoginaschainam Pashyanti atmanavishtatam Yatanto apikratmano Nainam pashyanti chetasa Yadadityagatam tejo Jagad vashayate kilam Yakchandramasmi yakchagno Tattejo vidimamakam Gama vishyaja bhutani Dharayami ahamojasa Pushnami chausadi sarva Somo bhutva rashatmaka Aham vaishnavaro bhutva Praninam deham ashrita Pranapana samayukta Pachami yanam chaturvidam Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha Vedesha sarvairahameva vedyo Vedanta kridveda videva chaham Dvavima purusho loke Sharas chakshara eva cha Sharas sarvani bhutani Kutasto pashuchate Uttama purusha svanya Paramamriti dharata Yo lokatrayam avishya Bibhati avyaishvara Yashmat charamatitoham Aksharadapi chotama Atosmi loke vedecha Pratita purushotama
Yo mamevamashumudo janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata iti guhyatamam shastram idam mukta maya naga etad buddha buddhimam syat krita krityasya bharata.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So, chapter 15 of Bhagavad-Gita, if you see the last verse, right, it says, iti guhyatam. Anybody knows the meaning of guhyam? Secret. So, Krishna is saying, this is the secret knowledge. Why is Krishna talking about this secret knowledge? No wonder Vaisheshika Prabhu selected this particular chapter. It is the smallest chapter, 20 verses. So if you want to recite on a daily basis, it takes 6 minutes. In YouTube, you have a nice video called Braja Beats. It takes 6 minutes. If you know the verses, you can put it in YouTube 2x or 1.5x. It will be done in 3 minutes. So, that is a trick our students are using. So why did I select this particular chapter? Because this chapter also has a correlation to what we're doing in the Sunday feast. So this is more like, I would say, Sunday feast, not a Sunday school. It is more like 3rd grade, 4th grade. And your children are more in like PhD level right now. I'll tell you why, right? It starts with Krishna describing something about the material world. They just learned about how this material world came into existence. For example, in school, they learned the Big Bang theory, right? How a Big Bang happened, the whole world expanded. So this similar to the Big Bang theory, we call it the Vedic alternative to Big Bang theory. They just learned it. So if you want to learn a detail about it, please talk to your children so they can share with you. So I will go express because we have only 25 minutes left. By the way, there will be a quiz like in Sunday school. So, okay. Once I get this to work, we will go. Okay, please do come forward. You can sit in the back. So, the title of this chapter is called Purushottama Yoga. Anybody knows what is the meaning of Purushottama? Supreme. Purusha means person. Uttama means the best of all persons. So towards the end of this chapter, I'll have a quiz, and you have to answer this question. In one of the verses, Krishna brings up this word twice, Purushottama. And that is why this chapter is called Purushottama Yoga. And yoga means to connect. So karma yoga, right? To connect through karma. Jnana yoga, to connect through knowledge. Bhakti yoga, to connect through devotional service. Purushottama yoga means connecting to the Supreme, to the ultimate Supreme Lord, right? So, you have to bear with me for a couple of minutes. Hare Krishna, can we... So, in this chapter actually falls in the 3rd section of the Bhagavad-Gita. The first section is called Karma Yoga. The middle is called Bhakti Yoga, and the third is Jnana Yoga. So how many of you have been to school and been in a science class? Right? You learn about, okay, there's a difference between animals and plants and whatnot. There's a lot of theory that happens, right? It seems boring, right? But when you go into a lab, it's very exciting, right? So Jnana is knowledge. So it's a little boring. Bhakti is service. You know, you go cook, you do deity worship, you do arati, you dance in kirtan. It's all excitement, bhakti. So you have to bear with me because this is a theory class. But it is also important to understand theory. I'll tell you why, right? I was once, in India, I come from a place where we get floods often. So whenever floods come, we use a makeshift boat. So a makeshift boat is like, it is It's a thal tree which is made into a hole, and then you can sit in it, and then you just you push it with a stick, and the boat goes forward. And then usually the boat also has a bucket in it, because the water comes in the boat and you pour the water out when bucket water comes in, right? So, one of my, caretakers or servants, right? He was pushing the boat. I was sitting in the boat, and then I took the bucket. For fun, I put it in the water, right? And then it's a small bucket, not a huge bucket, right? A small bucket this size. He was pushing the boat. The boat was hardly moving. He pushed hard. And the boat was not, it was moving, but very hard. He had to put like 5 times the energy of pushing the boat. And he was confused. What is happening? Then he turned to me and he said, he saw I was in distress because I was having a hard time holding to the bucket. The bucket was going to fall in the water. So he said, why did you put the bucket in the water? It gives you resistance to the boat. So even if it's a small bucket, it gives like 5 or 10 times resistance. So sometimes life is like that. You think everything was going joyously, fun and happy, and suddenly something happens, and you seem to be pushing hard in life, and the life is not moving at all, right? Do you come across situations like this? Tough situations? Then you're confused. Why are things happening? At that time, knowledge is needed. Yes, there may be a solution, but at least having an answer, the bucket is stopping, gives you a lot of relief. Versus you're pushing hard and it's not moving, it was working previously, it's not working now. But when you know, something is causing an issue, you may be able to fix it or you may not be able to fix it. But the fact that you know that something is causing the issue gives you a lot of relief. So there's a verse in Sanskrit, Asatoma Sadkamaya, Tamasima Jyotirgamaya. What it means is, when one is in darkness, he's full of fear. And when there is light, there is hope, or there is no anxiety when there is light. How many of you been to that corner room where we store flower vases? You've been there, right? So that room, we used to have a light switch. When you turn the light on, the heater also turns on. So what they did is they shut the whole switch off. They removed the switch and sealed it up. Now for you to turn the light on in that room, you have to go inside and then find the switch and turn it on. It's very scary. Because there's flower vases, there's chairs, there's so much stuff there, right? You may bump into things. So pujaris go in the morning to get flowers or whatnot, right? They have to just, they may run from here to there in 5 seconds, but they take 10, 15 seconds there. That is because it is dark. You will bump into things. There's fear. But now we have a small LED, teeny LED, not much light, but that still gives you there's no fear anymore. Teeny LED light. Thanks to Amrit Kili Mataji. She gave it to me once and I put it there. So, say if you go into a dark room, even your cell phone light is enough to take fear away from you. Even though it's not very powerful, it's not like a powerful torchlight. So gnana, or knowledge, is extremely powerful because it takes ignorance away. We saw the modes of material nature, right? Ignorance is governed by fear. Knowledge takes you out of fear. So we are going through the section of Gnana Yoga. So if you understand Gnana Yoga, it will give you a lot of hope. But you have to come to Bhakti Yoga to do things, for example, right? But Gnana Yoga brings you to the platform of peace at least. All right, now in Gnana Yoga, I will give you what happened so far. In the 13th chapter of the first chapter of Gnana Yoga, which is 13th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna talked about 6 things. Arjuna asked 6 questions, and Krishna answered 6 questions. What is kshetra? So this is the time when I ask quiz to my students if they actually heard what I told. What is the meaning of kshetra? Anybody? I'm not asking my students. I'm asking they were not in this class. More specifically, body. Our body. Kshetrajna, what is that? the soul within the body, right? Then Prakriti, what is it? Nature, or the field in which this kshetra is playing football, right? And then, what is the third one? Purusha. Who is Purusha? The Supreme Lord. We are coming to Purushottama soon, right? Purusha, or the enjoyer. Then Jnana. Jnana means knowledge. And then Gneyam means the object of knowledge, right? So the example I typically give in my Sunday school is Kshetra, Prakriti is like a football field. It is there. In the football field, the living entities have to enter the football field for a game to happen, right? So this is where you can ask your children, because we went into detail how this material world started and everything. So for the game to start, the living entities have to enter. So the Supreme Lord injects all the living entities into this field. And then he puts rules for this field. He says, okay, you have to take the ball from this court, 20 yards, three passes, and then like that, right? So the rules of the game come in. And then the game starts. So we are all in this game of life. We are playing this game. All of a sudden, football hits your head. You don't know why it's hitting you. Somebody's coming in, jumping and bumping into you. You don't know why. But if you know that this is a game and people are meant to bump into you, they're trying to snatch the ball from you, then you know, oh, this is why. Right? So that is what Krishna explained there. And then he explained in chapter 14, we saw a beautiful drama. Give claps to all the drama performers last time. So you saw how the living entity was being influenced by the modes of material nature, right? How many of you felt, oh, that's me? Good. Now, Krishna is giving a summary again. He spoke a lot of these topics earlier in chapter 2 and many other places. Now he's giving us a summary in chapter 15. So before I go into this chapter, I will give you a small story, a real story that I personally know that this story happened. It's not like, he say, she said, right? My sister lives in Hyderabad. She lives in an apartment. And 2 floors down, there's a family that lives there. And this is this family's story. They were a very well-off-to-do family. Doing well, business flourishing, everything. They had a 8-year-old boy, a son. And this 8-year-old son had a good friend. They would go to school every day, have fun and everything, right? One day, his friend bought a cigarette and he started to smoke the cigarette for fun. This guy got bewildered. And he said, I will tell to the teacher that you're smoking. Meanwhile, what the other boy did is, he ran to the teacher first and told that boy was smoking. He got confused. He didn't know what to do. He was scared that the teacher will yell at him. He was scared that his parents would yell at him. And he was so afraid. 8-year-old boy. He decided to run away from home. And he ran away from home because of that fear. They lived in Andhra Pradesh. He took a random bus, went nowhere. Nobody knows where he went. And this happened, he was lost. They searched every place, every nook and corner. But after 8 or 9 years, the parents received a phone call that their son was found. This is like when he was 16, 17. He was in a different state, Karnataka, which is a neighboring state. Like if this is Illinois, probably he was in Ohio. And he was working on a roadside restaurant, where people, they would stop and, like a dhaba hotel. Daily he would wash plates. He would clean stuff just for some food. And this was his life for 8, 9 years. he never had the idea to go back home because he was in a state of survival. I just need food. I need protection from people. I need a shelter to sleep. And he was engrossed in this one, just survival for life. One day, and he made friends. He made friends with the fellow boys who were just working in that restaurant, right? And one day, there was a police raid on that particular hotel. And then all these people were arrested and they were put in the police station. At that time, his friend told the policeman that this boy is a rich boy. He told me in the past that his parents live in the other state. And then the police inquired, and then they finally called. And then they were happy to take their son back. One day, he was washing pots, just trying to survive. The next day, when he came to know about his home, his family, he was riding in a Benz car. So, Krishna talks in this chapter about our story, which is very similar to this particular story. What Krishna says is, to start off with, he says, Aditya, can you recite the first 5 verses quickly, please?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhvamulam Adashakam Ashvatam Prahuravyayam Chandasli Yasya Parnani Yashtam Veda Savedavid Adash Kurdvam Prataschasya Saka Guna Pravrita Vishaya Pravala Adaschamulani Anushantatani Karmanubandani Manushya Loke Narupamasyeha tato palabhyate nanto nachadir nacha sampratishta ashvattam enam suvrudamulam ashanga shastrena dridena chitva tatapadam tatpariman kritavyam yashmin gatana nivartanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham prapadye Yata pravrita prashuddha parani Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha Adhyatma nitya vrinivritta kama Dvandvai vimukta sukha dukkha samshnai Gachanti amuda padam avyayam tat.
So what Krishna is saying is, Urdhamulam adashakam aswatham prahuravyayam. There is a tree, a banyan tree. A banyan tree is really, really huge. You will see that tree there, right? It is very wide for those of you who have an experience of banyan tree. And there are roots coming from branches. So when the banyan tree grows big enough, you don't know where the original root is. There are so many roots that are holding this tree up. Sometimes a tree can extend to a half mile or so. So there is such tree, but it is upside down. And in that tree, you will see the living entities are all trying to live. There are so many birds, so many creatures living in that particular tree. And what Krishna is saying is, all these living entities are us who are trying to live in this inverted tree. And we are trying to go from, okay, this branch is better, I'm going to make a nest here. This branch is better, I'm going to go there. I'm going to eat this leaf, I'm going to eat that fruit, I'm going to do that. And we're going around in this big tree, going back and forth, trying to find enjoyment or nourishment. But what Krishna is saying is, this going around in this tree is a waste of time because it is a reflection of the tree in the water. Say, for example, if there's a tree, a mango tree next to the bank of a river, and you see that there's a mango in the water and you try to go and reach to that mango because that's a reflection, you will never be able to get that mango. It's going to be impossible. So the endeavor that we're doing in this material world is like we're trying to find something in this world that does not exist in this world. We're trying to find happiness. But that doesn't exist in this world. It exists in a different world, which is a reflection. So, Krishna goes on to explain that stop searching in this tree and stop searching, when did I come into this tree also? Just get out, cut this tree and get out of this place. That's what Krishna is saying. And he says there is a source for this tree because a reflection has a source, right? When you put tilak in the mirror, we are trying to put tilak to the mirror, it's not going to work. If you put the tilak to the source of the reflection, it's going to work, right? So Krishna is saying there is a source for this reflection. I'm going to go express because we're a little behind. But in essence, in these first 5 verses, Krishna is saying that you are in this dense tree looking for happiness, but that is all false. Don't hang on to that tree. Get out of that tree and find the source of that tree. That's what Krishna is saying. And then he proceeds down to share. I'll skip on the recitation because we don't have enough time. The acronym for, I would say the acronym for this particular chapter is HOME. We saw earlier, he's saying, you're thinking that this is home. Don't think this is home. There's a different place which is your real home. So that's the H for home. And then Krishna goes on to say, you've been doing this on and on and on forever. What he says is, okay, this material world is there. It comprises the 14 planetary systems. And, people are trying to go up and down these 14 planetary systems. Second piece is, while you're looking at, I want a better home, I want to go to US, I want to get this house, I want to go into this community, I need a 2-bedroom home. You're searching for a place, right? The second piece he's saying is, you're taking on different identities on yourself. You've been changing your bodies for a long, long time. You wanted to be a demigod. You wanted to be Indra. You wanted to be an animal. You wanted to be a cat. Or you wanted to be a human. You wanted to be an American. You wanted to be some other, an Indian or whatnot. You're taking identities of this body. I wanted to be a male. I wanted to be a rich man. I want to be something else, right? You want these different kinds of identities on yourself. And in an endeavor to get these identities, you've been suffering a lot. That's what Krishna is narrating in this next set of verses, 6 through 11. And then he says, one may say, actually previously, there is this one verse here. Na tad bhashayate suryo na shashanko na pavaha yadgatva ninivartante taddama paramam mama. See, in the whole of Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, you are the individual soul, you are, I am Bhagavan, I am the Supreme Lord and whatnot. But this is the only verse where he's giving where his original home is, where the true original home is. This is the only verse in Bhagavad-Gita which shares the location, information about the spiritual world. He says, earlier we saw this diagram, right? This tree is a reflection of the spiritual world above. In between, the lake that we were talking about is the desire. So that original place, he's giving some information. One second, page down. Saying that, Natad bhashayate suryo. This world is not shining because of sun. Or it's not being nurtured by the moon. Na shashanko pavakaha. Yes, I know the whole verse, but when I break it up, I cannot say. Yadgatvan inivartante. Once you go there, you will never come back. That is what Krishna is telling about the spiritual world. And he goes on to say, one may say, okay, but I have a sun here. I have the moon here. I have nice enjoyment here. Why should I give up this material world? And Krishna goes on to say in the next 4 verses, 12 through 15, even whatever in this material world, I am providing that to you. For example, a son decides to leave his home. and run away from home because he had a fight with his father or mother. And then say he goes somewhere else, and then he finds some employment, and then he's making some money. But if the employment was actually made by indirect arrangement by the father, right? He told his friend, give him a job. The son may be thinking, yes, I'm doing everything on my own. But actually it is being indirectly provided by the father. So rather than directly taking from the father, he's taking indirectly from the father. Right? So Krishna is saying the same thing. Even in this material world, when you think you're on your own, you're doing things on your own, everything of your maintenance is being taken care by me. The first two, he takes care at different levels. Cosmologically, he's taking care. Then terrestrially, he's taking care of arrangements. Psychologically, he's taking care, and spiritually also. For example, our body, right? We have to eat food, yes or no? But if there's no sun, will we get food? If there's no moon, there's no food. So even for our sustenance, we may think we're doing a job, we are getting some money, we're going to a grocery store. But Krishna is providing that food. Then he says, okay, you somehow got your food. But for you to digest your food and maintain your body, I am responsible for it. Because I am the digestive fire in your body. So he's taking care at cosmology level, meaning he's making the sun, moon, and everything arrangement. Then he's helping you digest your food. Now, after you say you ate your food, you digest your food, and you got nourishment, what would you do after that? What do we do? We hang out with people, right? And do many things, right? Krishna says the right thing for you to do after that is understand what the Vedas are saying. Spend your time in doing yoga, not hatha yoga. It is more connected to the Supreme Lord. Use that nourishment to understand the purpose of your life. That's what Krishna is saying. And then, once you understand the purpose of your life, you execute that particular duty, and then you will come back to me. So we'll again, I don't know, let me check time. Anybody has time on you? 6:30. Okay. But this is the most important part. I want you to understand this nicely. In essence, Krishna is giving 3 verses. There are 2 kinds of living entities, Kshara and Akshara. Kshara means who are fallen, meaning people who are in this material world. Akshara or liberated souls. A simple example of Akshara is, most of us, we may think, I'm engaging in devotional service. That means I'm Akshara or Akshara. So our nature is, we are in between. A very nice example I heard, right? There was once a rickshawala. His purpose was to carry, the municipality, the dump truck guy. Like in India, the rickshaw is a dump truck, right? He carries all this trash. And it smells so bad to him. So one day he decides to go to a perfume shop. And then he goes to the perfume shop and he says, show me different kinds of perfumes. And he smells the perfumes. After smelling 2 or 3 perfumes, he says, oh, this is too much for me. And he goes back to his rickshaw because he got so much used to his rickshaw smell. So that is our position. We come to the perfume shop of Krishna. We do kirtan, maybe japa, that, this. After some time, no, I have to see some YouTube. Right? I've gotten enough dose today of the perfume. So that's why we are Kshara. While we may be practicing bhakti, we are Kshara because we are more lean towards material. But somebody like Prabhupada, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, 24/7 they are engaged in remembrance of Krishna. They are Aksharas. Now, one may say, like there may be some gurus like, I have transcended this material world. But Krishna is saying in this particular verse beyond the Kshara and Akshara, there is one personality who is beyond both. And who is he? The last word. Can you read that? Purushottama. That is Krishna himself. And that is why this is called Purushottama Yoga, this particular chapter. He is revealing the secret of this, first the banyan tree, the material world. He's revealing the secret about us who are struggling in this material world. And he's revealing the source where we are supposed to go. And then he's revealing about himself so that we can perform bhakti yoga to him. That's why this is, in the end, he calls, earlier we saw this verse. He called it the most secret of knowledge. So, because we ran out of time. But one thing I want to urge to you all is, a nice example is given in this connection, this chapter. One may ask, yes, I'm still in this material world. I still have to work a job. I have to do many things in this world. I want you to take this one example. Krishna doesn't say give up anything. He says, you have to live in this world as if you live in a hotel. Anybody seen Mr. Bean's episode where he checks into a hotel? Anybody knows about Mr. Bean? Right? He checks into a hotel. So when Mr. Bean goes and checks into a hotel, he looks at his room. He says, this is really good. He takes his bags, he puts his clothes and he puts it in the shelf. Then he looks around again, he says, I don't like this pink color. And he starts to paint the wall of the hotel. Then he takes the pictures down. He puts new pictures. He changes the curtains. He makes a lot of changes to this hotel. But he was only going to check out in 4 days. So that's the reality of us. We are all going to check out of this material world sometime or the other. But we are busy trying to decorate this world. So just go to a hotel. Whatever is provided, accept it as a service. But execute the reason why you checked into this hotel. Maybe you came for a business trip, maybe you came for a pleasure trip or whatnot. The reason we came into this hotel is to understand our relationship with Krishna so that we can execute our constitutional position with, the devotional service and go back to spiritual world. So I urge everybody to take this very seriously. Live in this world as if you're living in a hotel. Don't make too much out of it. And get out of this banyan tree. If that boy was like, oh, what will happen to, all the clothes that I have collected? What will happen to all my friends that I made? And if he never decided to go back home, in what kind of condition would he be living in? Okay. This is where we will end here. Any questions or comments for maybe 1 minute, and then we can end the Sunday Feast lecture.
You have 1 minute to be put good delivery, most painful.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhuji is appreciating how much pain the mothers go through to deliver a baby. Yes. All right, we'll end it here. Once again, let us all extend our appreciation to all the mothers by loudly saying Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So as usual, our Sunday feast is possible by generous sponsorship of devotees. Today we have 3 sponsors. Asha Raghavendra for the occasion of Akshaya Tritiya. Do we have anybody from their family, Asha Raghavendra's family? Please come forward to accept some Mahaprasadam. Okay. Pratiksha Ritesh Thakur, blessed with a baby recently and wanted to say thank you. Anybody from that family, please? Okay. And lastly, Virendra Gowda, his mother-in-law's death anniversary. Hare Krishna, please come forward, please. Give it to So, thank you. So we will all, seek the blessings of Shri Shri Radha Madhava by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for all these three families. Please kindly repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So let us all thank the children for kindly participating and nicely reciting. Haribo. Okay, thank you very much. Now you can seek the blessings of the deities and then take Mahaprasadam.